Okay, hi everyone, Daryl here. Okay, now this is another episode of Bangkok in the news. So what we have is that we actually have news that the BTS SkyTrain Sukhumvit line, which is the one that runs through the main Sukhumvit Road all the way up and ends at Mo Chit. So it will actually not end at Mo Chit exactly 1 month from today. So on 11th of August, which is 1 month from today, today is 11th of July, they will actually open up an extension of the BTS line. So if you guys have been following Bangkok, you will know that okay, this map is not exactly 100% correct because there's a lot of mistakes to this. Like the green line, right? The light green line actually continues up this way. The dark green line, they did it wrongly. So this dark green is supposed to be light green. Okay. Anyway, now currently the train actually ends at Mo Chit, so it actually travels down this line and onto this green line. And then if you guys notice, right, that previously like the train actually ended at Samrong, but now currently it goes all the way to Keha, which is a couple more stops down. So this map is not accurate, but it's quite dated. So the problem with Bangkok is that the Bangkok Rail Transit Network, right? They have many different stakeholders. That means that many different companies that are running different lines. So there isn't one time whereby they all just come together and say, let's make a comprehensive Bangkok Transit Network map, and then after that give it up to everyone to use. So it's all these maps are actually done by uh, I guess general public people who want to put something together for others. Yeah, so what happens is that now currently, right, if you end up at Mochi, so if you take let's say you are shopping at maybe Chit Lom, Plonchit, Nana, Asok, maybe you're from Terminal 21, then you want to go down to uh, like, um, like Chatuchak, right? So you actually can take the MRT line, and then you can come off at Kampeng Pad, which actually which is here. Okay, if not, then you can actually take the Sukhumvit line and the light green line. This dark green is supposed to be light green anyway, so you can take the light green line all the way up, and then you can end up at Mochit. So from Mochit, you can end up at Chatuchak Park. But what happens is that it's going to have an extension, and the extension, the next station is actually Lat Phrao intersection, or correct me if I'm wrong, but uh, now it's actually called BTS High Yaek Lat Phrao, which is Ha is actually 5, and then if I'm not wrong, Yaek means like separate lines or something like that. So like it's like an intersection. So it's in English it's actually Lat Phrao intersection. So what happens is that it's going to be linked to Central World Lat Phrao, which is actually the largest Central World in Bangkok. So if you guys are adventurous, you can actually take the MRT line all the way down to Lat Phrao, and actually, Pahan Yotin. You can get off at Pahan Yotin, and you just walk a little bit. So Pahan Yotin will actually bring you to like places like Union Mall, and diagonally across Union Mall is actually Central World Lat Phrao. So Central World Lat Phrao is a very local area, but it's very popular with the locals, and it's not it's not a like cheaper area, so it's something whereby the locals, they hang out at. The mall is very huge, also have major international brands, and you can just go and take a look at the Lat Phrao area. So the Lat Phrao Chatuchak area, Pahan Yotin, uh, this Bangsar area, right, is all clustered together because the Bangsar Grand Station is actually going to be operational next year. And now currently they are having the extensions to the train lines, and this in conjunction with the whole thing that Bangkok is going to become a transport hub. So um, as property investors, you guys know that when infrastructure is improved, then there is a good chance that property prices will appreciate accordingly. And well, this is something for you guys to take note as well. So if you are in Bangkok 1 month from now and you want to go and take a look, I'll leave the links in the description below for all these articles, so you can actually look at uh, their live After Mo Chit BTS to reach Lat Phrao next month. So you can just take a look at this, and this extension will have 16 stations and it's about 19 kilometers. So a lot of people actually think that every station is an investable location, but the thing about Bangkok is that the traffic jam is actually very horrendous. So if let's say people are trying to get around the city, traveling in taxi or cars is actually quite impossible on a daily basis. Well, it is possible, but you get really, really stressed. I don't travel by car or taxi very often. I depend heavily on the rail network. And so with this rail network extending to further out from central Bangkok, it's actually to bring people from outside of central Bangkok into central Bangkok to work. So it's actually improving the infrastructure to bring more people from outside central Bangkok into central Bangkok. It's not for us investors to go investing along this line. So if let's say somebody tells you that go and buy somewhere near I don't know, near the airport, right? Uh, then please don't believe them, because that's not a place whereby, in my opinion, is investable. But Lat Phrao is very, very promising because Lat Phrao is within the whole area of like Chatuchak, Lat Phrao, uh, Pahang Yotin, Bangsar, that whole area whereby the Bangsar Grand Station will be, and then it's actually the central hub to like up towards China, and eventually the plan is actually to go all the way down to Singapore as well. So Bangkok is right in the heart of everything, and so this line is actually quite important. And if you guys are in the area, please take a look at areas like Lat Phrao, and I did a video on the various online platforms whereby buyers and sellers and tenants and agents list the properties on. So if you go and take a look at those online portals, you realize that the rents in Lat Phrao are decently high as compared to the pricing. So pricing in terms of property prices in that area is actually not as high as really hardcore central Bangkok, but the rental returns that you are getting, right, is the yield is normally higher for places like Lat Phrao, Pahang Yotin, this area. Okay, and the demand in this area is actually decently high also. Okay, so it's one area which I think that you could take a look at, and these are actually pictures. This is actually where the new uh, Lat Phrao station will be. And yeah, so that's it. This is 1 month from now, on the 11th of August. You guys can go and try the extension to the light green Sukhumvit line. Towards the east side is already extended already, but up towards north, right, they are opening the extension. The line has been built like quite some time already. They are doing testing, so next month they are going to open to the public. Okay, and another news to share, right, is this number of international schools in Thailand exceeded 200. A lot of times clients actually ask us, do we buy like a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom unit? Then normally from our experience, if let's say an expatriate were to be posted to Bangkok, they will come and stay, but they wouldn't be uprooting their family from uh, wherever they come from and then come to Bangkok, because the international school standard is not that high yet. But the number of international schools in Thailand is actually growing rather rapidly, and this is actually a picture of this T77 community. So there's actually this Bangkok Prep School. If I'm not wrong, this one is the secondary level, and the primary level is actually across from Thong or BTS station. So Bangkok Prep School is actually in this T77 community at Onut area also. And this T77 community, if you have been there before, it's actually a guarded and gated community, and the roads and pavements and even the landscaping is distinctively different from the rest of central Bangkok. So it's very neat, it's very organized, and so one of the more famous international schools is actually this Bangkok International Prep School. And the Bangkok Post is just talking about this project called Kawa House, which actually we had some clients who invested in this project. And what happens is that this trend of international schools is actually, or school standard is actually improving as well. So in time to come, it may be something whereby investors have to take note, like international school standards are improving, so maybe you may want to take a look uh, and maybe consider like maybe a two-bedder, because all the while, right, we've always been having tenants who rent one-bedroom apartments, and then they don't uproot their whole family and bring everyone down. So they come alone to Bangkok to work, and then once their contract expires, they head back home to their home country, and that's the main reason why one-bedroom apartments are doing well. But if let's say you have the budget for two-bedroom apartments and you are looking to invest long term, and you think that the trend is going to change, especially because of this news like this, then then you could maybe tweak your investment strategy to maybe go for two-bedroom units, because in time to come, Bangkok's education standard will definitely improve to a point whereby people will want to come in and work, and not only work, then they will make Bangkok a place to stay as well. So from where I come from in Singapore, whenever like maybe I've had friends from like China or India, and then they are posted to Singapore, and then they bring their whole family down, because the education standard in Singapore is pretty high. In fact, it's one of the highest in the world. So, and then they bring their family down because they want their children to be educated in Singapore. They take advantage of the Singapore education system to better their education standard. So it's definitely better than back home where they come from. And then after that, they try to make Singapore their home. So they try to apply for permanent residency, and then some of them apply for citizenship. And this is how Singapore as a society grows. So as time goes by, right, you see Bangkok perhaps moving towards this direction. It all starts with education, in my honest opinion. Education is the greatest equalizer for income inequality. And if Thailand is serious, and if Bangkok is serious in eradicating poverty, which is perhaps quite a long way from where they are now, then they definitely have to take into account the education standard in Bangkok. So this trend of having more international schools, improving international school standards, is a step in the right direction. And some developers, right, they are jumping on the bandwagon. So there are a few trends that you can buy into. Like for example, you can buy into pet-friendly condominiums, and you can also buy into condominiums that are close to good schools. And then after that, people who come here and stay, they may want to send their children to those schools, or there may be Thais that uh, can afford the international school fees, and then they want to send their children there, so they may rent the condominium from you. And it's not like in Singapore, because in Singapore we actually like just like fork out money to buy close to the school, when actually we can just rent near the school. And yeah, so overseas is like that. If you want to uh, get your child into the school and you want convenience, then renting is a very viable option. And this is what is happening in central Bangkok. So if let's say you see a condominium that is close to good schools, then that may be a good factor to consider that condominium. Okay, so that's all from me today, and I'll see you in the next video.